dumbest rappers who lost millions and went completely broke. 10 rappers who blew their fortune and went bankrupt. Are you into rap music? If you do, you have probably noticed the jewelry, mansions, and luxury cars that artists are featuring in their music videos, as well as in their interviews with the media. Unfortunately, not all rappers can afford such expensive materials. However, many of them feel the need to live according to the expectations of the people around them, especially their friends and fans. As a result, they start to spend beyond their means to suffice everyone's expectations. Then, sooner or later, these artists would go bankrupt. You may be wondering which rappers we're talking about. Well, keep watching this because we'll cover some of the rappers who have lost a lot of money and went bankrupt just to keep up with their rap persona. Join us at Money Buys Happiness as we take a look at the 10 rappers who have gone broke trying to keep up with their lavish lifestyles. And so we begin. Number 11, Exhibit. Since 1996, Exhibit has had a great music career, earning 2 gold and 1 platinum album. Few people are aware that his true source of income is from presenting the MTV show Pimp My Ride. Pimp My Ride is a reality program in which contestants bring in vintage automobiles in poor condition for a team of experts to patch up and make them seem better. Despite being initially canceled, the show was allowed to continue on air from 2004 until 2007. This cancellation resulted in a major pay cut for the artist, who went from earning $500,000 in 2017 to only $65,000 the following year. Although an annual salary of $65,000 should be plenty for everyone to live comfortably, Exhibit, on the other hand, did not live a normal life. He had a 7,650 square foot house in California and several other opulent properties. The golden years rapidly ended, leaving Exhibit without a car and $1.4 million in debt. Nonetheless, even terminating the program wasn't enough to persuade the authorities regarding taxes versus all of his existing unpaid taxes since 2006. Despite his fame and affluence, the IRS finally went for his money, thereby putting an end to the famed singer's dreams. Number 10. Nas. With a net worth of $70 million, Nas is one of the most successful rappers of the last 2 decades. His path to achievement, however, was not always smooth. In 2009, Nas divorced fellow performer Kellis while they were expecting their first child. His tough financial situation was made clear throughout the divorce. As for Essence, Nas claimed to owe his manager money amounting to $700,000, as well as to the IRS, which amounts to millions, while debating the amount of child support he would pay. He was still obligated to give $50,000 plus in support every month. He may not have had the money because Kellis claimed Nas was not meeting his duties before their divorce. He owes her $300,000 in overdue child support and alimony, according to the judge. Nas, on the other hand, said that paying the money would put him out of business. His lawyer stated that he earned less than $150,000 per month, which was less than what Kellis claimed Nas earned every month. In 2012, Nas lost his Georgia house because he failed to make mortgage payments on time. The bank confiscated the property. It then auctioned off the property in public. Kellis was not the only ex-girlfriend who was not compensated, though. Nas's ex-wife sued him in 2014, saying he was a serial offender and that he owed her child support amounting to more than $11,000. Fortunately, Nas recovered and made some outstanding investments through his venture capital business, which is now worth $70 million. Number 9. Nelly. Nelly was a well-known and renowned rapper and pop performer in the early 2000s. Nelly's debut album, Country Grammar, sold over 10 million copies in the United States, while Nellyville sold over 6 million. Nelly amassed millions of dollars through his creative, melodic, half-sung, half-rapped songs, but he failed to pay taxes on it. The federal authorities placed a lien on Nelly's profits in August 2016. It was discovered that rap musician Nelly had not paid his taxes. The IRS stated that he owed more than $2.4 million in back taxes. Only months after, Missouri's Department of Revenue demanded Nelly paid $115,000 in delinquent state taxes. With interest and penalties spread out over 3 years, this amounted to $150,000 cost for him. Creditors took foreclosure and seizure action, to cover his large debtor's bill. Number 8. MC Hammer. MC Hammer was certain that his good fortune would never run out. He released Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him in 1990, which remains one of the top-selling hip-hop albums to this day. Forbes assessed Hammer's net worth at the time to be about $33 million. However, he filed for bankruptcy just 6 years later, making him one of the most popular celebrities of all time that have gone into financial disasters. Time reported that the first was the $30 million houses. Then there was the most amazing entourage imaginable. Time reported that Hammer had 200 staff on his payroll who cost $500,000 per month, but claimed they might cost $1 million a month at times. Hammer stated that he had hundreds of creditors when he filed for bankruptcy. He also identified his brother and several attorneys among them. The IRS, department stores, a few banks, American Express, limousine firms, and utility corporations were all included on the 36-page list. He even owes $500,000 to Deion Sanders. Hammer stated that with the money he gave up his heart and utilized it as a gift to others rather than himself. In 2011, Hammer told Oprah that he would not alter anything if he could go back in time. He believes in the butterfly effect and feels that if things had gone differently, he would not have the peacefulness that he currently has or his kids. Number 7. 50 Cent. You may be aware that 50 Cent went from rags to riches and back again. He has now become a multi-millionaire on a lesser scale, and here is his story. As one of the most well-known rappers of all time, 50 Cent's life was fraught with scandal. After becoming one of the world's wealthiest musicians, his net worth plummeted from $150 million to $30 million in a matter of years. According to the New York Post, 50 Cent made $60 million after selling 30 million records. In addition, 50 Cent was an early investor in vitamin water, which increased his net worth by $50 to $100 million. The singer's net worth was projected to be about $500 million 10 years ago. By 2015, however, 50 Cent had to declare bankruptcy when several of his cars, aircraft, and jewels were discovered to be borrowed or rented, badly harming his self-esteem. But the straw that broke the camel's back was his disagreement with Rick Ross over a decade of shady meetings. 50 Cent is believed to have obtained a sex film of Rick Ross's mother and dubbed it with a sarcastic voiceover, leading it to go viral without her knowledge or permission. This little prank bordering on crime cost the artist $7 million in damages. After being forced to pay $17 million in fines for stealing the design of his G-Unit headphones, 50 Cent declared bankruptcy. He believed he could do whatever he pleased regardless of the rules, but he soon learned his lesson. Fortunately, he has made a return and is now worth an estimated $30 million. Number 6. Bow Wow. Bow Wow began releasing songs when he was 13 years old. Since then, he's had successful albums and branched into acting, appearing in films and television series. So you'd assume he'd have accumulated some savings over the years. However, he stated during a child custody hearing in 2012 that this is not the case. Bow Wow told the court at a child custody hearing that he made $4,000 per month and had $1,500 in his bank account. That's because he'd rented a Ferrari F430 4 years before and had fallen months behind on payments. When the leasing company arrived to collect the money, Bow Wow was handed a charge for more than $200,000. He refused to pay, and by 2012, the debt had escalated to about $300,000. He claimed to be worth $4 million by 2017, but he didn't appear to be able to afford the lifestyle he portrayed on social media. He captioned an Instagram shot of a private flight flying to New York on a private jet, but then a photo of him flying through an advertisement was tweeted. Another internet sleuth noticed that the image of the private jet was copied from the website of a Florida corporation. Perhaps he's always wanted to be broke after labeling money evil and promising to give it away to followers in 2018. Number 5. DMX. DMX's 5-star albums propelled him to prominence as one of the most popular rappers of the early 1990s. Even all the money in the world couldn't keep his luxurious lifestyle going or help him deal with his bad finances, which led to bankruptcy in 2009. Despite the rapper's accusations that he has been left destitute, the court dismissed these claims, saying that he had been unjustifiably late with his payments. When the singer tried this strategy again 4 years later, his fortunes did not improve. Following disputed claims from his manager, who claimed that his prior manager was to blame for DMX's financial woes for many years, the judge dismissed DMX's bankruptcy petitions once more, stating that he had more funds than he had revealed. DMX died unexpectedly in 2018 when the IRS tried to collect the $2.3 million he owed them, culminating in a year in prison. He died of an overdose in April 2021. DMX's tale demonstrates how rapidly money may disappear from your bank account if you don't practice self-control over your spending habits. If you're not careful with your money, no matter how much you have it, it can all be gone in an instant. Number 4. T-Pain. T-Pain was a hip-hop sound in the mid-2000s. It didn't last though. He said that after his reign, he had acquired a stunning quantity of money, $40 million via USA Today, then everything went wrong. T-Pain is presently doing well, although he attributes his losses to poor real estate investments. He revealed that he was letting his manager manage his investments, who was considerably more confident than the rapper. His manager believed that they'd be okay if he just painted the complete dumps, but they never sold anything since. He was once so broke that he had to borrow money to buy his kids a Burger King meal. Number 3. Lil' Kim. You don't imagine you'll ever be in a position where you're at the top and contemplating your demise. Lil' Kim, on the other hand, had a front row seat when her bank account was depleted and she ran out of money. In 2010, her bank began foreclosure proceedings for the first time after she accrued huge debt. However, in 2017, a judge ordered that Kim may only pay the money she owed. Nevertheless, she declined to take responsibility. A year after all of these problems, the bank foreclosed on her New Jersey house. Lil, like many other rappers who misjudged the power of money until it was too late, tried everything she could to keep her 2002 home. Lil's million-dollar responsibilities, on the other hand, pushed her into a horrific world of debts, totaling $4 million over the next 2 years, reducing her annual income from $825,000 to just $18,000 monthly by 2018. Kim's bankruptcy case was settled a year later, and she was able to reorganize her finances. The singer's net worth is just $500,000, a little fraction of what she had just a few years ago. This is getting crazy, right? But it can always get crazier, so keep watching. Before that, though, we want to know what you would do if you'd had the same amount of money these people have. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, are you liking this video so far? If you are, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to watch more videos like this one. Now let's get back to our story. Moving on to number 2, Fat Joe. Fat Joe refused to pay a $105,000 debt he might have paid after 10 successful albums. Years later, Joe's life would be ruined as a result of his failure to pay it. According to USA Today, Joe amassed almost $3 million between 2007 and 2008, but he refused to pay the IRS the $7 million he owed, assuming he could outwit the authorities while squandering his ludicrous wealth on frivolous purchases. Joe would risk 2 years in prison if convicted of his attitude. The famous musician decided to seek a way out by working hard to repay his debt and escape prosecution. Joe opted to donate computers to various schools and to engage in extensive charitable activity in the hopes of lessening his sentence. Even though the judge considered him, he was sentenced to 4 months in prison, which had a significant influence on the singer's career. Unfortunately, Joe's family bore the brunt of the repercussions of his conduct, which was especially difficult for their 6-year-old daughter after her classmates mocked her father's imprisonment. Joe hoped that his narrative would serve as an example to other performers, advising them not to waste money in jewels and private jets like he did. In a 2019 interview, he stated that developing a sound company strategy is crucial for sustaining cash flow because of how quickly money may vanish owing to high tax rates, everyday costs, and bad judgment. What might have been a heartbreaking narrative of one man's demise became a source of inspiration and a role model for future performers in an industry that frequently encourages the extravagant lives that push many people into poverty. Even though Fat Joe isn't half as wealthy as he once was, his financial understanding and maturity have improved significantly, and he has learned an important lesson. Number 1. Buck the Younger. Joining the ranks of rappers with the words buck, dollar, or money in their stage names was regrettably a bad omen. In addition to owing hundreds of thousands of dollars in past taxes, IRS officers raided his home and took all expensive goods, including but not limited to dining room chairs, clocks, craps tables, and even the contents of his refrigerator. The IRS refuted Young Buck's assertions that the agents removed various items he required for his job, including his children's possessions. After Buck's music collection was auctioned off, the IRS was set to sell it all off, potentially costing him his fame as a rapper and his multi-million-dollar business. Young Buck's tax troubles were not completely his responsibility, but they were the result of a failure in communication between his management and lawyer over who should pay them. Despite having spent all of the taxes, both attempted to deduct some of Buck's most lavish purchases as business costs essential for the artist to maintain his image. Young was completely bankrupt as a result of the tax evasion difficulties and the claims of 22 creditors totaling $11.5 million. If Buck's move was illogical, he attempted to conceal his income from the bankruptcy court by shifting funds to a new bank account. If the court perceived this move as an effort at bankruptcy fraud or misleading his creditors, it might have resulted in considerably more serious penalties for this artist than losing his refrigerator. What you can learn in this story is that you can't go around the law, especially when you're attempting to hide hundreds of thousands of dollars that aren't yours. All of the rappers on this list made poor financial decisions that led to them going bankrupt. Many of them spent lavishly on cars, houses, and other possessions while neglecting to pay their taxes. Some even lost significant income when their TV shows were canceled. Despite their mistakes, most of these rappers have bounced back and continue to make music. They serve as cautionary tales for young artists who may be tempted to follow in their footsteps. It's important to learn how to manage money wisely if you want to maintain a successful career in the music industry. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.